All right, good day, good morning. From the Appalachian Trail, Riley and I are here. This is Jerome Brook. Long Falls Dam Road is just a little ways that way. It's close enough that we can still hear cars when they go by. That was where we had our tent set up last night. So right next to the brook, so I was able to fill up on water and then didn't have to worry about carrying it on the trail, because for obvious reasons. And I've been trying not to carry water with me just because my pack's been quite heavy since leaving Stratton. So today is Wednesday, October 2nd, day number 153 of our through hike attempt. And we are, like I said, we are just north of Long Falls Dam Road, mile 2028.6, I believe. I got off to a very relaxed start this morning. I just felt like I wanted to sleep in. Yesterday I got up quite early and it was quite chilly. And part of the reason I got up, it's nothing wrong with getting up early. But I had the help yesterday because there were some other hikers in our campsite. And I actually woke up like really early this morning because I had to pee. And the sky was just beginning to get light. Riley, what you got there, buddy? Hey, get out of there, Riley. Get out of there, Riley. This brings back memories of the porcupine, Riley. Come on, let's go. But today I just I just felt like I could use the extra sleep. And so I took some extra sleep, and I felt like Riley could use the extra sleep. And so it felt wonderful to sleep in a little bit. And then I just got up when I felt like we had adequate sleep. So I'm feeling good. I don't feel like yesterday actually. After we got going, during one of our breaks, I was just feeling like still sleepy tired because I don't think I got enough sleep the night before. So during one of our breaks, I was just like putting my head down and closing my eyes, and I didn't fall asleep, but I was doing some extra rest during our breaks because of the somewhat limited sleep that I got. So I feel much more refreshed today. And I'm also excited that I feel like we're in some more friendly territory now, where the hiking should be a little bit easier. And I hope that turns out to be the case. Riley, what are you doing? So let's see. What else? We're at low elevation now. We're gonna have a bit of a climb here. Good job, Riley. A little bit of a climb. We got a little mountain. I don't think it's a named mountain, but that'll start off the day, and then the rest of the day we have like kind of rolling hills. Nothing too high up. But this kind of stuff can present challenges. Like this is definitely not easy walking. You can't just walk like a normal human being on this. I forgot to mention yesterday, One of the guys that was at our campsite last night, which was Bigelow Coal campsite, or Avery Memorial campsite, his name was Alpine, and I had just met him the day before, because he passed us, and I hadn't seen him at all on the hike at all before that. But he was talking with a girl named Happy Feet as they were packing up and getting ready to get started, and I was still in my tent, getting my things ready in my tent, and I could hear their conversation. And he had a really cool moose story. Really cool moose story. So I have never seen a moose in real life. But he apparently, it sounded like it was just recent, like just in the last week. He said he was in his tent, and he said it was about 10:30 at night, and he heard some noise outside his tent. And he said he keeps like one side of his tent, like the rain fly, like open so he can see out. And so he looked out, and he turned on his headlamp, and he said he could see a moose, like not too far away. And then he said when the moose saw his headlamp, it looked at him, and instead of being scared of the headlamp, the moose decided to run over to him. And the moose ran right over to his tent. This is according to Alpine's story. And was just like looking at him through the bug netting. And it sounded like the moose like kind of lowered its head so he could see better. And he was displaying his big horns, which moose apparently have. And he was like breathing heavily. And Alpine was saying that he seemed pretty terrified at this point about what the moose was going to do. And he mentioned he was like, his thought process was like, all right, I have no control over this situation, just do with me what you will, moose, and get it over with. But obviously Alpine is still here, he lived to tell his story. So apparently the moose, I'm not sure if Alpine turned off his headlamp or kept it on. Wasn't clear about that, but he said the moose only looked in his tent for like 10 seconds. And then it kind of lost interest, and it turned to go away. And as it turned to go away, he said it like caught one of the guy lines of his tent and pulled it out of the ground by just pulled it. It didn't like rip anything or cause any damage. It just pulled one of the guy lines out of the ground that was staked in, and then the moose just went away. So he said it was only there for like 10 seconds, but he had a face-to-face encounter with the moose while he was extremely vulnerable in his tent. And no damage resulted, fortunately. So I thought that was a really cool story. Thank goodness no damage resulted, and he's totally fine. Riley does not seem to be in the hiking mood. Mr. Riley Van Gogh. So we've been walking along the trail, and it's been paralleling this pond called West Carey Pond. And I got a little educational sign here, the Great Carrying Place.
1775 Arnold Expedition Portage Route. In 1775, a small American army of about 100 soldiers under the command of Colonel Benedict Arnold passed over the 13-mile Great Carrying Place between the Kennebec and Dead Rivers. Colonel Arnold and several companies encamped here on October 14th. On the following day, they crossed West Carey Pond, which is right over that way, in their bateau and continued over the steep ridge to the west and on to the Dead River. They then proceeded through the wilderness to attack their goal, Quebec. Okay. The Appalachian Trail between Middle and West Carey Ponds. Okay. So that's West Carey Pond. I'm guessing Middle Pond is, or Middle Carey Pond is further ahead. Precisely follows the old Portage Trail. All right, sir. Very good. We are going to be following the old Portage Trail going north here, I think. Mr. Riley. Come on, buddy. By the way, I might as well mention I finished my book last night, The Firm. Finally finished it. I greatly enjoyed reading the book. Oh my goodness, Riley. It's like every friggin' time I start talking, I have to stop. So yeah, I finished the book. It was a lot of fun to read. And there is a sequel to The Firm called The Exchange, which came out, it was released in just last year, actually, in October of 2023 it was released. So, something to look forward to. I'm definitely going to watch the movie The Firm when I get off trail. Looking forward to that. And I can also look forward to reading The Exchange and continuing to follow the adventure of Mitch McDeer. So The Exchange is like a continuation of The Firm. It has the same characters. Don't know why it's called The Exchange. But basically, at the end of The Firm, Mitch escaped with his wife and his brother to the Cayman Islands. And he was on a small... Apparently there's 3 islands. There's Grand Cayman, which is the largest and most populated, but then there's also Little Cayman, I think, and Cayman Brock, and he escaped to one of those smaller 2 islands, and then his plan was to get a sailboat and spend a lot of time on the sailboat, and he's got to stay in hiding because he's on the hit list by the mafia, so he's got to stay hidden, and he doesn't trust the FBI to keep him safe. So he's trying to remain anonymous all by himself. Okay, Riley. But one thing I thought was cool in The Firm, I think a lot of it was a fictional story, but a lot of the places that were described were like actual places. I think the author John Grisham tried to remain accurate with all the geography that he talked about and the roads. And one of the things I thought was cool was Mitch's brother. His name was Ray McDeer. He, in the book, he started off in the book in prison because he had been convicted of I'm not sure what he was convicted of. I think it was murder, actually, but not first-degree murder. But anyway, he was in jail, and he was in prison at Brushy Mountain State Prison, or State Penitentiary, which is located in Tennessee. And that's an actual prison. And I actually knew about that prison before reading the book. Actually, I think a lot of people knew about the prison because it's famous. Riley, let me go first, buddy. It's famous because James Earl Ray. Who was James Earl Ray? I think he was the guy that shot Martin Luther King. That's what I'm guessing. But I know he was famous for committing some very well-known crimes. He was a high-profile inmate. And he escaped from Brushy Mountain in a very famous escape. But he didn't get very far. He was recaptured in the days following the escape. And part of the reason his escape was not successful was after he climbed over the wall, or somehow got over the big wall and escaped. The prison is located basically in the wilderness in Tennessee, in a state park. And so it's surrounded by a whole bunch of mountains and a bunch of trees. And for a prisoner who's just escaped, who has no resources, no car, no tent, no nothing except themselves and their legs, it's very, very challenging to try to navigate through that area and get to a place, get back to modern society, to access a car or access a bus or something. And so he was recaptured because it was just so hard to navigate that area on foot without any additional help. And it's also famous today because in that park there's a very famous, well, not necessarily famous among the general public, but famous among athletes. There's a race called the Barkley Marathons, which is considered to be one of, if not the most difficult ultra marathon in the world. And it takes place in the state park where Brushy Mountain Prison is located. And part of the reason it takes place there is because the race organizer, his name is Lazarus Lake. The escape by James Earl Ray was like an inspiration to create a race in that area. Anyway, so it's famous for the Barkley Marathons, and I was just surprised when I was reading the book that Brushy Mountain Prison turned up in the book. And it was the location where Ray McDeer was an inmate. And I'm guessing John Grisham may have decided to name Mitch's brother Ray, just for the reason that Brushy Mountain Prison is famous for James Earl Ray, as it's, in terms of the famous escape that occurred many, many, many years ago. Anyway, so I thought I'd mention that about Brushy Mountain Prison and the connection with the Barkley Marathons. And so I finished my book. I now have no reading material, but I guess what I might do if I'm bored at night in my tent is I might just start reading the book again from the beginning and enjoy it again We'll see. Oops. So the trail has been mostly pleasant. Still got rocks and roots to deal with, but it's been mostly level. And that's much appreciated. Another snake right down there. It's probably hard to see, but it's slithering away on that. It's kind of out of view now. There it is, slithering away on the other side of that rock. Right underneath the... Riley doesn't know where it is. He thinks it's right there, but it's on the other side of the rock. Probably hard to see in the camera. I was told they don't have poisonous snakes in Maine, so I'm not worried about it. Riley. Riley, wait. This is East Carey Pond, I believe. And I have not seen a single person on trail today. Nobody going south, nobody going north. So the elevation has been mostly flat. Some parts of the trail have been very easy to walk. And this isn't like terrible, but there's still like many sections that are rocky and rooty, and also quite a few sections that are muddy and wet. This is a dry section here, but plenty of muddy places as well. I'm currently sucking on a lime flavored Jolly Rancher. I find that the sucking of the Jolly Rancher, I find that I can taste it the best if I hold it with my tongue in the center rear part of my mouth, so that the Jolly Rancher makes contact with the upper portion, like the roof of my mouth. And I find that the center rear part of the top of my mouth does a good job of tasting the flavor in addition to my tongue. Kind of back near where my esophagus is. I've been thinking about how I'm thinking a lot about like the end of the trail, because I'm getting close to the end of the trail. And so I've been thinking a lot more about things that I'm looking forward to doing when I get off trail. And it's making me just look forward to finishing the trail. And I'm feeling like more and more, I guess, like tired of hiking, and then I just kind of want to finish and be done with it. And I feel like that's kind of a common feeling among hikers at this stage of the hike. Just like a desire to get back to get back to, like, I guess for lack of a better term, creature comforts. You know, being able to take care of yourself real well. Eat what you want, sleep when you want to, be warm when you want to, be lazy if you want to. What are you doing, Riley? What are you doing? And I know when I was first starting the hike, I likened the trail to a sauce on just some type of sauce that you put on, you mix in with your food to make it taste better. And I made the analogy that the trail is kind of like a sauce because it helps me to enjoy so many other things in my life so much more. Like, it helps me to enjoy my food more, helps me to appreciate things more. But I feel like you can extend that analogy in that when you're eating food and you put sauce on it to make it taste better, you only put a little bit of sauce on it. Well, not necessarily little, you can put a lot, but there's definitely a thing, you know, you definitely, you know, want to watch how much you put on, because there you can get to the point where you have too much sauce, and then you just have sauce and not much of the main dish. So you just got to put on enough so that it helps to enhance the flavor of the dish and enhance the overall taste and your enjoyment of the dish. But if you put on too much, then it might detract from the flavor or detract from your overall enjoyment. And so I feel like that can extend to the AT. And like at this point in the hike, it sort of feels like I have too much sauce. Like I'm just ready to be done with it. The hike, you know, it goes on for so long, and so many miles, so much time, and I feel like I've gotten out of it what I need to. But at the same time, I want to finish. I want to, you know, accomplish the goal that I set out to accomplish. So I do want to finish. But like, if this were the finish right here, if this were my goal, to just get like right here, and then I was done with the hike and I accomplished my goal, if this were Mount Katahdin right here, I don't feel like I would like miss out on anything in the next 170 or 160 miles. I feel like I've gotten out of it what I feel like I've gotten out of it, you know, what a hike can give you in terms of being more appreciative of things. So yeah, it's I was just thinking it's kind of like, at this point, could be really any point because the hike is just so long, but just extending the sauce analogy, at some point you've got enough sauce and you don't need any more sauce, and you've gotten out of the hike what you need to get out of it, and you can go back to things that are a little easier, or things that, you know, other things that you want to do, and you can try to carry forward some of the things that you learned on your hike to help you continue to enjoy various aspects of your life more than you may have been able to before. Anyway, gotta be careful here. I don't want Riley to jump. You ready, Riley? Just walks. Don't jump. Good job, Riley. Good job. Well done. All right, so I think I've said what's on my mind there. Not sure if it made sense, but oh well. Makes sense in my mind. Hopefully it makes some sense. All right, Riley, got another of these narrow boards here. Come on, buddy. Good job, Riley. Well done. Come on, buddy. I don't like these narrow boards. Come on, buddy. Come on, Riley. Good job, Riley. Come on, buddy. Good job, Riley. Good job, Riley. Well done, Riley. That looks like a dog there. And that looks like a hiker. Pretty cool. So I like these planks so much better. 3 planks. It's like a very wide highway. And it even has guardrails. I like that. I like this so much better than the single planks before. So just less than 5 minutes ago, Riley was walking behind me, and then I felt him dart out to the side. He was interested in something, and he had found some dog poop on top of a rock, and he just started eating it. Oh man, and he devoured it. He was like, this is so delicious. And I was looking at him. He already had like a big chunk in his mouth, and I just let him finish it. And he's been licking his chops. And I was just shaking my head. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm not gonna let him lick me anytime soon. Dogs have a different sense of taste than humans do. All right, hello. It is 8:29 right now, and Riley is right there. We are at Pierce Pond Lean-To. We're the only ones here, so we have the whole shelter to ourselves. And we did some night hiking. To get here. So I saw one person today. I thought I was going to go the whole day without seeing anybody, and few miles back, probably close to 6 p.m., there was a hiker that came up to us from behind. He was hiking a little faster than us, so he caught up to us, and his name was Dr. J. He is seems like a real experienced guy, and he's out for a couple days, for fun. He says he has a particular section of like 20 miles that he likes to do, like out and back. Anyway, so we saw him, and he was the only guy that we saw today. So we are at, like I said, we're at the Pierce Pond lean-to. There's a pond right in front of us. It's not very easy to see in the dark, but it's like right in front of us. I actually walked down to the pond to get water, but I didn't realize that it was right in front of us. So I took a longer route to the pond. Basically, I heard flowing water, and I kind of walked in the direction where I heard the flowing water, and I eventually found it. And then when I got back with all the water, I realized that the pond was actually, I could have just gone like a short distance right in front of the shelter. Anyway, we are at, so there's this place called Harrison's Pierce Pond Camps. It is it's refers to itself as a traditional Maine sporting camp. It's like it's been there a long time, and it's very close to here. It's only like 0.3 of a mile by the AT, and there's also a Blue Blaze trail that you can get to it from the lean-to here. And they make a really good breakfast. They serve 12 pancakes, and you can also decide to add on eggs and sausage as well if you want. I have mixed feelings. I would love to try the breakfast, but to get the breakfast, you have to go there the night before and reserve a spot, and they serve it at 7 a.m. sharp the next day. So 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And if I wanted it, I would have to go. I would have to hike there or walk there tonight to reserve a spot, and either camp near there or either camp near there or then just walk back here to the shelter. And I don't really want to do that. Plus, I have a lot of food. I have plenty of food on me. Anyway, so yeah, I would love to try the breakfast. I'm sure it's really good, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to, it's already late. We're just going to stay here in the shelter and have a good night, have our dinner first, and then go to sleep. Yeah, so this shelter is at mile 2042.0. We started the day at Jerome Brook, which was, and I don't know who Jerome is, but somebody who the brook was named after, and that was at mile 2028.6. So we hiked 13.4 miles today. The hiking that we did in the night, once it got dark, I'm sure it would have been easy. It's always easier in the daytime, but it was pretty annoying. It was quite rocky, and there were many, many muddy stretches. And so it wasn't just easy walking. It was difficult walking. And there was one little stretch where the mud was like ankle deep, and I didn't realize it, and I stepped into it, so my right shoe got all muddy. And then tomorrow, when we go back to the trail, there's like this outlet from Pierce Pond that the AT crosses over, and apparently it's pretty deep, and it's not really possible to walk over it without getting your feet wet. And not just your feet, but like I think for some people it's up to like knee high or even higher. So there is a way to get around it by going into Pierce Pond, and then there's a bridge that you can take to get over it. But again, I don't really want to do that because that would be skipping some section of the AT. It would be like taking a Blue Blaze, and I'd rather just stick to the actual AT. So anyway, that's something we're gonna do tomorrow morning. It'll be like first thing. I might end up trying to do it without my shoes to keep my shoes and socks somewhat dry, but I'll see. I'll have to. It'll be good to do it in the daylight, definitely. So other than the night hiking, which and all the mud that we had to do in the night with the night hiking, most of the day today was really nice. And most of the trail was pretty pleasant. And I was thinking my plan, my short-term plan is I think I would like to, we're about 40 miles away from Monson. It's spelled Monson, but I think it's pronounced Monson, not Monson. And there's a hostel called Shaw's there, which I'm planning to spend the night at. And we'll probably be ready for a resupply when we get there. So it's 40 miles to Monson. I would like to do that over the next 3 days and get there by Saturday night. And that'll be the 5th of October. Today's the 2nd of October, Wednesday, day number 153. And then that would give us 10 full days to get through the 100-mile wilderness, and then drop Riley off with my parents, and then I would have another 15 miles to do. 10 miles into Baxter State Park to Katahdin Stream Campground, and then 5 miles up Katahdin. And so I'm thinking we could try to do the 100-mile wilderness in 8 or 8.5 days. That would be a good goal to shoot for. And if we do it in 8.5 days, then that would give me a half day on the 14th to hike back into Baxter State Park, into Katahdin Stream Campground, which is 10 miles, but it's relatively easy hiking, so that should be enough time to do that 10 miles, and then that would give me the full day on the 15th to hike up Mount Katahdin and then hike down Mount Katahdin, which is another 10 miles. So that's kind of my plan, my tentative plan. Anyway, that's all for tonight. That's all for today, day number 153. Hope everyone who's watching this is doing wonderful. Hope you've all had, if it's nighttime, hope you've all had a wonderful dinner and have a good night's sleep tonight. And Riley and I are going to try to do the same tonight, and we will. Oh, by the way, it's not very, it's cool, but it's not very cold right now. I think it has something to do with the fact that we're at low elevation right now. We're only like 1,200 feet above sea level, as opposed to like up in the mountains near 3,000 and 4,000 feet. So, yeah, it's quite pleasant here. Anyway, so like I said, we will close out the day and say goodnight, and we'll check in tomorrow. Bye for now.